Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Little local sports roundup brought to you by Amundsen's Appliance Center. First off, let's lead off, because it's got to be such a cool experience to do this. Aliva Strum, after the Brewers-Cardinals game yesterday, played on American Family Field against Pewaukee, and they came away with the victory, 8-6, which Pewaukee's a really good team, too, aren't they? I mean, Aliva Strum is, too, but... Because Aliva Strum had that really good run last year, was it?
Yep.
With their baseball team?
Most of those players are back this year. If not all of them are back from that. Most of that. Probably most. But, yeah, they've had a really good season so far in the Dairyland, which has been a really tough conference with Blair Taylor. Schrammick throwing, striking out 21 people.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's awesome that they get to go down there. Experience playing at a pro stadium is just got to be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, especially as a high schooler. Man, that's got to be so cool.
So congrats to them, yeah. And, for baseball next week, I believe, is when the playoffs start. Softball starts the regional semi-quarterfinals. So a couple of teams, not much. There'll be a few games on Thursday, but in general, the playoffs will start on Tuesday.
Okay.
When all the softball divisions will start playing. So
okay. Speaking of softball, because I know last week some of the brackets got released. Are all of them now released? Do you know?
It might be down, because I don't think D1 had been released. Okay. But I think this weekend would have probably been the seeding. So I think could be out there now. It wasn't when I was driving home yesterday.
It's not out there yet. I got them up here for Division 1. Division 2's out, Division 3, Division 4, and Division 5. So not D1.
I would think that'd be sometime this week. That would be released, because I would think they would start either Tuesday or Thursday next week.
Okay. So
if the smaller ones are starting on Thursday.
Right. With that, I know they got a bye, but Rice Lake is a 1 seed. So in Division 2, they will play the winner of Black River Falls or Osceola. Hayward, as a 5, is taking on number 4 Baldwin Woodville. St. Croix Central is a 6 seed, taking on number 3 Somerset. Altoona is a 7 seed, taking on Ashland. Winner of that would take on Ellsworth.
That'll be Altoona's a tough team, so I think that they'll kind of take it to them that they got that set. I think they're a better team than that, and I think they'll have to play that first game on Thursday there, so I think that'll give them some extra motivation.
I like it. Then let's go to Division 3 here, just because I have them up here quick. Bloomer versus Barron. I feel like could that be a tricky good one too? Bloomer as a 5 at number 4, or Barron. St. Croix Falls is a 3 at Cameron is a 6. Cumberland's a 7 seed. They take on Webster Siren. That winner takes on number 2 Spooner. Elk Mound is a 5 seed, taking on number 4 Arcadia. Durand, Arkansas is a 6, taking on number 3 Gale Electric Trempealeau. Then Stanley Boyd's a 7 seed, taking on Aquinas, who's a 2 seed over there.
That'd be the level right now is very even throughout the board. So I think there'll be some upsets that you're going to see in all these divisions, because I think the teams are right there. It's a razor-thin margin between a lot of these teams about where they're at, and just could depend on what conference you're playing in. And if you're playing in the Clover Belt, like say at Stanley Boyd, you're playing Fall Creek, you're playing McDonald, and you're playing Thorpe.
Right.
3 really, really good teams all the time. So you're going to have you're going to have some losses on it, but also you're going to be kind of, you've gotten that experience against some good teams, so it should help you in the playoffs.
Right, absolutely. Division 4 looks like that's going to be a fun one, especially in this section where Fall Creek's the 1, and then McDonald Catholic Central is the 2 seed at the bottom of that one. You got Regis as a 10, taking on number 7 Augusta. That winner takes on McDonald. Colfax is a 3 seed, taking on Lake Holcomb Cornell. Cadott is a 5 seed, taking on number 4 Boyceville. I mean, it's just loaded.
It's a loaded, yeah. I mean, Fall Creek has been probably the best in that conference. Donald's always right there. Thorpe's always right there. And Colfax, playing in the Dun St. Croix, has been playing some really good softball, too. So, the mix there is going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Division 5, you got Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran as a 3 seed. Going to be taking on a Gilman team, too, that's kind of, they've had a lot of success over the years with their softball program.
Yes, I was to state a couple when they were there.
Yep, Thorpe is the 2 seed in that one, too, as you just mentioned.
And again, Thorpe, they took their lumps against Fall Creek, but that's a team that year in and year out has had a good tradition of making those postseason runs, and so definitely could see it again.
Yep, so it's kind of hard to believe, though, that we're getting
Yeah, this is like the
time.
last. I was looking. It's like the last weekend before it gets chaotic for about a month. Like for me, it gets ramped up real busy here after this weekend. So I'm ready for it. I'm ready for if the weather can stay like it is.
Yeah,
I'm ready for it.
Baseball-wise, I know last week was the intercity rivalry series with North and Memorial, and they split. I mean, it's perfect, right?
Yeah, it was
split between those two.
Well, that was there for game one I was at on Wednesday, and that was fun. I mean, that was 0-0 up until the seventh inning, pitchers duel, and then you get 2 runs by Memorial, and then North comes back, gets 2 runs, and then ends up winning it in extra innings. I was live when it actually happened, going live from Carson Park. So, and then Memorial comes back the next day, gets the win, and like you said, get the split, and talking about razor-thin margins.
Right.
I mean, that's what the Big Rivers has been this year. I mean, any team on a given day can find a way to beat any other team. You know, North was sitting there. I got to see how everything shook out there, but they were tied for the lead with Hudson for first place. And it's a big win for Memorial because I think that got them back to 500 in conference as well. So I get to the playoffs in that D1, that's going to be – you're not going to know.
Yeah.
And then once you get to sectionals where you play those 2 games, that's – yeah, it'll be fun to see who comes out. I mean, there's a lot of talented teams around the Wausau and Stevens Point area, too, that they're going to end up battling. But, man, it's one of those years where I really don't know. Like, especially Big Rivers-wise and even Cloverbell-wise, it is just as closely, tightly packed as I have seen. Usually you have a team that kind of rises above everybody else, but everybody's just right there fighting tooth and nail to get to the top.
So we got that going on. I know, tennis is also going on right now.
A lot of conference meets going on this week for a lot of things. For golf, the conference meet, Big Rivers, I know, has their conference meet on Wednesday at Whitetail and Colfax.
Nice.
Or Thursday. I think it's Thursday.
Thursday? Okay.
But yeah, they have a BRC meet tomorrow at Wild Ridge, too, so for 9 holes there. Yeah, and then tennis-wise, I think it's a lot of conference meets. And then next week, we get into, like, next week's when everything just goes.
Yeah.
It really is how it works. Everything really starts to go next week, so it'll be interesting. Baseball will be kind of at the end of next week, but yeah, it gets to be busy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, track and field.
Yeah, this is all conference meet time too, and then next week will be. I gotta believe it'll be regional because it's the end of the month.
Yeah, because Brandon told me he's like, I can't come in the 31st because it's state track and field.
Yes,
he said so.
Yeah, because that 31st, so you have state track and field because I was making my schedule ahead. So 31st state track and field, then 2 days later state golf. Man, on June 2nd and 3rd, or 3rd and 4th.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we're right there. I mean, we're really in the thick of it. So I would think, I'm trying to look at the times here we would be, next week would be, so next week would be the regional and sectionals for track and field.
Wow. And 2 weeks from today, it's Memorial Day, but also the Express open up their season, too.
That's always kind of fun because it always is like kind of a Memorial Day tradition of they usually get a practice on Sunday, then they go out there and they play that next day. So
it's like, hey guys, welcome to Eau Claire. We got a game tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Head over to Momentum, hit some in the cages, and then your team get out there.
Yep. So I'm Dale, by the way. Your manager. So
a lot of times those first couple of weeks you don't have your full complement because you guys still playing.
Yep. But
he's been pretty. He said, I remember last year talking, he's been better off getting more of his team together earlier than it used to be, but you'll still get the taxi squad.
It's all an unknown because you don't know how well those college teams are going to do.
Right.
So, I know Blue Golds too. The softball. Blue Golds softball was ousted in the WEAU tournament, but that was a team that was just filled with a bunch of freshmen and a bunch of youngsters that got a ton of experience. I got to imagine is going to pay dividends in the next couple of years for Leslie Huntington's team.
And they battled these top teams in the WIAC so tough this whole year that I think the future is very bright for the Blue Golds. And, you get hardened there by playing and taking your lumps, but also being so close in a lot of those games. I think it was 2-1 their first game in the WIAC that they battled.
Right,
they really did, and you hate to get eliminated, but I think this team will be watching the future years. Next year, watch out.
Yep. Definitely. And I know track and field, I mean, that's with Coach Chip Schneider over there. Nationals coming up, and I know a lot of the athletes, track and field athletes, there was a couple events they were at this past weekend. I know lacrosse, and then it was the St. Francis Fighting Last Chance invite, all getting ready for Nationals, which is their main goal is.
It wasn't Quebec Way got performer of the meet for the WIAC outdoors. I mean,
what a season he's having! Yeah, no kidding. I mean, setting records and such too. I mean, that man has been on a tear. This year. Well, no doubt about it.
Just a specimen.
Yep.
And it's amazing, and I loved seeing the clips of him as a former weightman, believe it or not, back in the day, who was nothing even like a third of good as he was. Like a third of my throw. You take 3 of my throws to get to what he could get to. That's how just outstanding he is. I am just always in awe.
Right. So busy time coming up in the next couple weeks here, especially next week. It sounds like with wrapping up regular seasons and getting ready for postseasons.
It is here. So. It is all here, and it's going to be fun. It's a month that whips me into shape.
Yeah.
Once we get to the calendar, gets towards June. It's go time for.
Is baseball, prep baseball, kind of like the last one when it gets to state and playoffs? Is that the one that kind of wraps it up?
Baseball and soccer.
Okay.
I think soccer's the last tournament officially, because I think baseball's the beginning of that week.
Okay.
And then soccer's the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, not Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Gotcha. So. Any teams for soccer to kind of pay attention?
I mean, Regis McDonald, however you want to put it, there are one loss on the year, and that loss was to North, a D1 team at a tournament. So they have been playing great. Colleen Callahan and Annabelle Schroeder are just amazing players who just score in bunches. So I'd watch them, and then Big Rivers wise, Memorial last year kind of hit their stride once the playoffs came. North has been playing some good soccer; they're right there too. So, and then I'll never count out Rice Lake.
I was just going to ask about Rice Lake.
Because Rice Lake, once they move down,
yep,
they always make a run. So those are some of the teams that,
Awesome. That's your local sports roundup, brought to you by Amundsen's Appliance Center. Big thanks for JC for that. So